This conference will now be recorded.
1000, So this all we have discussed yesterday, right? So let's move on to the sales area data. So in the sales area data, the first tab we have is sales. Yeah, sales, right? So sales district. So we haven't created sales district at the time of enterprise structure, right? Because sales district, where do we create it? Again in the SPRO. In the SPRO, sales and distribution, basic functions. Sorry, master data, business partner, customer, and sales. So what are the fields you'd be seeing in the sales? So sales district or customer groups, anything you'd want, you can create here, right? So why you need a sales district? So sales district will help us to further drill down the reports. Okay. So sales district comes under the sales office and it will help us to drill down the reports. The sales district, whatever you created at the time of enterprise structure, sales district and sales office and sales group, both whatever you created at the time of enterprise structure, you just maintain it here. So this customer belongs to which sales district and the sales office and which group is taking care of this particular customer. See, what are the data we are maintaining here in this screen is applicable only for this customer. Okay, this data is applicable only for this customer. So which group is taking of this customer? He belongs to which sales office or everything. The next is customer group. As I mentioned in the last session, sometimes we classify customers, sometimes we group customers, right? So this group, we are grouping customers here. So on what basis we are grouping, and if you want to create a new group, you can create it here. So if you want to create a new customer groups, you can create new customer groups here. So why we are grouping customers here? Because to give them better service and better price, discount and everything. But on what basis you group customers here? Basing upon the volumes they buy. Okay, basing on the volumes the customers buy. That means bulk buyer, industry buyer. So is industrial customers, bulk buyers, medium volume buyers, like this. So basing upon the volumes what customers buy, on basing on that we are grouping customers here. The next is currency. If you remember, I told you, right, there are two currencies. One is company code currency, one is customer currency. This is the customer currency. That means whatever the country the customer belongs to, that currency we would be maintaining here. And the currency will have an exchange rate. So you can see the exchange rate of the exchange rate here. So currency will have an exchange rate. Standard exchange rate type is M. So standard type is EM, right? So the next is order probability. Probability means chances, right? So order probability. What are the chances this customer will stick to the orders whatever he plays without canceling the orders, without changing the quantities? So why it is 100% now? Because this is a new customer we are creating. There is no history of this customer. So it is showing 100%. But later, after 1 year, we review this customer. We might have changed this, right? So order probability will tell what are the chances that customer would be sticking to this particular orders, whatever he plays. The next item proposal. Item proposal. So standard item proposal should be fine. Just a moment. Okay, it can be anything. I'll just take this 545455. Okay, so item proposal. So what is item proposal? See, when you go to any store, retail store, like let's say Walmart, or you go to a big bazaar, you go to any store, how the user is taking your orders. So you are taking a shopping cart with some, say, 20 items. So how he is taking that orders into the system. Is he manually typing something, or he's using any tools?
Barcode.
Right, barcode reader. So he use a barcode reader so that he'll just scan the product. All the details about the product would be copied into system, right? In the billings point of sale system, right? So that is one quick tool which user is using to create the orders very quickly, right? The same way in SAP also we have some quick tools where users can create orders quickly. So this is also an interview question. What are the quick tools available for the user to create orders quickly? So what are the quick tools available? This is one tool that is called as item proposal. So what is an item proposal? So what's an item proposal? Let's say, I hope many of you guys might be using food delivery apps, right? It can be Zomato or Uber Eats. You might be using, or you might be using grocery delivery things like Big Basket or Amazon Pantry, right? If you notice, there will be one button called as reorder. Have you noticed anyone? Or whenever you open that app, it will show you the items which you ordered in the last order. So why they are showing that? So that quickly, if it is like say Amazon Pantry where you order groceries online, so in a month most probably 90% your groceries would be same, right? It may not change. So all the list. So why you need to again type all the groceries? Instead of that, just click on the reorder button. So groceries from the last month would be copied here. So if you have any change in the quantities, you can change. Or if you don't want some item, you can delete. But rather than entering all the items, you can copy this. So how quick it is, right? So item proposal is the same way. That means, let's say my company sells 100 material. Okay, my company sells 100 material, but there is a customer called as X who always orders for material 1, 100 quantity, material 27, 100 quantity, material 45, 100 quantity, material 78, 100 quantity, material 99, 100 quantity. That is, my company sell 100 materials, but my customer, one X customer, always place order with the same material, same quantities. So when I know this customer's buyer behavior, what can I do? I can store this data somewhere so that I can easily pull up into the sales order, right? So instead of entering this all data entry, with one click I can pull up this data, right? How it's possible? That is possible through item proposal. So item proposal is a concept, very small concept. You can just go through the configuration. Item proposal, a very small configuration. Yeah, just one page configuration. You see here, serial number 10, ABC material 100 quantity. Serial number 20, XYZ material 100 quantity. So these are the materials which customer would be ordering all the time with the quantities. And I'm saving this data in item proposal. This is the key. This is the key in which I'm saving this data. And what I'll do now, I'll assign this item proposal to sales document type. Okay, I'll assign, sorry, not sales document type, to customer master. So whatever you're seeing here, 500034 is nothing but, in our case, it is 5455. In this 5455, we saved some data already through item proposal. We assigned to this customer master. That means this customer would be buying some materials all the time, the quantities that we saved into the item proposal and assigned it here to the customer. So now if I go and create a sales order, in the interviews also they may ask this question, how to call item proposal into the sales order, how you call the item proposal into the sales order. So once you enter the sold to party, ship to party, usually what we do is we enter the sold to party, ship to party, and all the materials we need to enter here with the serial numbers, and we need to enter the quantities here, but I'm not entering anything here. So how do we call up an item proposal into the sales document? This is the key. You see, propose items, this is the icon which we click and call up. You see 5455. So from where system is speaking 5455, that's there in the, okay, we have taken out. So from where system is calling up that 5455 item proposal, which is there in the customer master. We have just seen, right? Okay, anyway, let it be. I hope we already seen it, right? So from where we system is picking up the 5455, that is from the sold to party in the customer master which we assign. So now you have an options. Do you want to copy all the items without quantity or with quantity, or you want to select it? User want to select it. So I'll just select default with quantity. Yeah, you see, item number and the quantity, everything has been copied. We haven't entered it, right? So from where this coming? It's coming from the item proposal. So like this, you can maintain all the items and the quantities in the item proposal and just click the proposed items and say okay. Whether with quantity or without quantity, system will copy all the items into the sales document. So this is one quick tool which will help the users to create orders quickly, right? So let's get back to customer. Just a moment. I hope this is S4HANA. Okay, this is S4HANA system. Let me close this. So how I identified this as a S4HANA system? Because in S4HANA, it gives suggestions. You see, if I say 1000, there will be a drop down. Select. We don't have this in the ECC system. If I type here, you see, it's giving a selection, right? This is not there in the ECC. This is only in the S4HANA. It gives a option for selection. Let me exit S4HANA system. Okay, so let's come back. Right, so this is item proposal we just discussed, where system can pull the items into the sales order by default. Account at customer. Let me see. Our customer we are calling as 1000. Likewise, your customer also will maintain the supplier vendor details, right? And he will also assign some account. So this is the account number which our customer has given to the company in his records, right? So whenever you refer to the customer, your customer might be also have same name customers, right? Two suppliers they might be. So how do you differentiate and identify yourself with your customer? With this number. Price group. Price group. Here we are grouping the customers basing upon what base price they would be selling. That means bulk buyers will let's say the product X cost is $100. For bulk buyers, it is $70. Medium buyers, it is $80. And low volume buyers, they need to pay $100, right? So what they are sharing here, we are grouping customers, price group. We are grouping customer here. How do we group them? We group them here on the basis of what base price they commonly share. Okay, the customer who all will be sharing the same base price, we put into one group. So how does this affect? Why we need to group the customers like this? That is, say tomorrow, what we can do is, see, dealers. Is all dealers the same? Let's say I have 100 dealers in my business. Is all 100 dealers same? No, right? So out of 100, 10 might be bulk volume buyer dealers, and 70 can be a medium buyers, and 20 can be a low volume buyers. So the price material X price, the low has to pay $100 and medium $80, and for bulk customers I give for $70. So tomorrow, if I create a sales order, and let's say there is a customer called as 103 in the bulk buyer group. Okay, in the price group of bulk buyer, there is 103 customer. If this 103 customer is buying this material X, what price system will pick in the sales order?
70 per
Anyone?
item. 70 per
What
item.
is that? How much? What price system will pick if this
70
103 customer? That is
$70 per item.
$70 per item, right? Because for this 10 bulk buyers, the base price is $70, and this 103 customer belongs to this price group called as, let's say, 10. Okay. So how this will be helping us categorizing your customer like this? How it will help? It will help us to maintain the pricing records. This is how we maintain price records. Okay. So pricing group is to group the customers who share the same base price. Who share the same base price is into one group called as, let's say, X1. Then you will assign X1 here or 01, whatever it is. The next, customer pricing procedure. As of now, it's only a definition, customer pricing procedure. So it will help. It is one of the parameter which will help us to get the base price into sales document. It is one of the parameter which will help us to get the pricing procedure into the sales document. Okay. It's one of the parameter which will help us to get pricing procedure into sales document. Just as of now, it's only definition, but when it comes to the pricing topic, you'll be better understanding it. The next is price list. See here in the price group, we grouped customers on what basis? Anyone? On what basis we have grouped the customer in the price group?
Base price.
Who shares the same base price, right? A price will have a pricing element, right? Did we discuss that? Anyone? Pricing
No.
components, pricing attributes.
No.
No? Okay. See, when I say price, you go to a store, you ask for a product, the product cost is $100. How it has arrived at $100? So a price always will have a pricing components or pricing elements or pricing attributes, whatever we can call it. That is price, discount, surcharge, tax. You put all together, then only you will be arriving at the final price, what you need to pay, that is $100. It can be MRP. It's kind of that, right? These are pricing attributes. We'll discuss more about pricing attributes when it comes to pricing concept. But now we grouped customers on what basis? On base price. Price list. Here again, we are grouping customers. On what basis? Who share the same other pricing attributes. All domestic customer, tax is 5%. All export customers, price is 10%. If this customer is an export customer, you put some value here, let's say 03, and that it should take 10% tax, right? So price list is the customers who is sharing the same pricing attributes, right? This is only base price and this is other attributes. Customer statistics group. So throughout the SAP, if you see somewhere statistics, it is related to reporting. There are some standard reportings in SAP called as LIS and SIS, Logistics Information System and Sales Information System. They are the standard reporting tools with which we can pull out some reports. So throughout the SAP, if you see some field statistic, that is nothing but for reporting. And what you are controlling here, saying that whether you want to pass this all customer information into these reporting tools or not. If you pass the data, you can pull the reports. If you don't pass the data, you don't pull the reports, right? That means you are telling here whether this customer data is relevant for statistics or not. That means you want to pass all the customer data to the reporting tool or not. That is controlled here. So here you are telling that it's relevant for statistics. That means this all data is passing to the reporting tool so that customer can, so that business can pull the reports of this customer. The next, shipping. The first field in the shipping is delivery priority. So what is delivery priority? That means here we are prioritizing customers delivery basing upon high priority customers, medium priority customers, low priority customers. So what is this high priority, medium priority, low priority? Why you do that? So here we are prioritizing customers coming to the delivery, right? So how does this field delivery priority will be used? In what functionality we can use this field? As a soft sequence, That is in the concept called as backorder processing, BOP, backorder processing. So in the backorder processing, we use this delivery priority as a soft sequence to decide which orders to be confirmed and which orders to be cancelled. So how it works? So backorder processing, when it comes there, we'll discuss, but let me give a simple idea of that. So what is backorder processing? Backorder processing is cancelling the confirmed quantities of a low priority customer and giving it to the high priority customer. Let's say in the plant, I have X metal 100 quantity. I have two customers, 101 and 103. 101 is a low priority customer, 103 is a high priority customer. 101 has placed an order for X metal 60 quantity. Do I have material? Yes, confirm. Again, so now availability is 40 quantity. So again, he placed an order for X metal 40 quantity. Do I have it? Yes, confirm. Right? So what is the material available? 0. Now a high priority customer has placed order for X metal 40 quantity. Can I confirm? Anyone? Can we confirm order for the high priority customer?
No.
No.
No, right? Because there is no material available. Right? So there is no material available, so we cannot confirm. So in this case, backorder processing will help us. How backorder processing will help us? So backorder processing will help us to cancel the confirmed quantity of a low priority customer and give it to the high priority customer. So what is the soft sequence to decide who is high priority or who is a low priority and how to whom it should be confirmed, to whom it should not be confirmed? That is through backorder processing. So backorder processing, this soft sequence helps who is a high priority customer, who is a low priority customer, for whom we need to cancel, to whom we need to confirm. This concept has a very major business impact in the S4HANA. Yeah, go ahead.
Again, just a question. So once the order has been confirmed for low priority customer, will it be possible to cancel by the system and I mean, when exactly this canceling happens? Is it like before the confirmation of the order or when the orders are being processed?
No. Even confirmation also we can cancel, because low priority customers, we don't, why they are low priority customers? Either they may not be giving us good turnover, or they might be keep on changing the materials or canceling the quantities, right? So whenever you create an order, you don't immediately deliver for a low priority customer. Order will be confirmed, but you can cancel the confirmation of the low priority customers.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is if it is a system which is like end-to-end connected with a third-party logistics supplier or with the customers where EDI acknowledgements are being sent across. If an order is being confirmed and acknowledged to the customer saying that the order has been confirmed, is it possible the status of the order is changed again?
Yes. It's because, as I told you, for a low priority customer, you create an order and you confirm it, but you don't deliver it. If you see here, you also have an option to do 2-day delivery, ground shipping, next day delivery, 2-day delivery, ground shipping. You have these options. Why you have these options, ground shipping and 2-day delivery, next day delivery? Because customer might cancel the order, or he's not that important, we should deliver the order to him first. There are some more other customers to whom we should deliver, right? So we can cancel the confirmed quantities of a customer, but when there are some cases like this, when we should not cancel, again for that also we have controls. Okay. So see, what happened is the same. What are the confusion you have? The question what have you got? There is some discussion in the SAP for this, because we have only one soft sequence. We are telling that if he's high, is a low priority, cancel it, right? So that's the reason I'm supposed to tell you now. There is a major business impact of backorder processing in S4HANA. Okay. So what? Yeah, go ahead.
What we look in a BOP, how we decide what we look into the BOP.
The same delivery priority.
Only no, I mean, what I'm asking, and we decide high priority or low priority on the base of BOP. But what's attribute we look in a BOP to decide who is high priority and low priority?
So that, as I told you, that BOP discussion we'll do it later, because that itself is a concept which we need to discuss. But how you decide canceling an order or confirming an order, only basing upon this soft sequence. Okay. So, but now what SAP has come is, SAP has come up with a bucket concept in S/4HANA. It has created 5 buckets. That means, depending upon the importance of customer, you put the customer in the bucket. Basing on that, you can run the backorder processing and you can confirm the orders. There are some customers for which you should not confirm orders. Who are they? Who are on credit block. The customers who are on credit block, you should not confirm the orders, right? That means those customers will always lose the confirmation. So like that, SAP has come up with win, gain, redistribute, lose kind of 5 buckets. That's again a big concept of backorder processing, which has a business impact in S/4HANA, right? So, but when it comes to backorder processing, we'll discuss how backorder process will work, right? So delivery priority is one field which will help us to do the backorder. The next is order combination. That means whether you are allowed to combine multiple orders into a single delivery or not for this customer. Just excuse me one moment. Yeah. So this order combination is whether you are allowed for this customer, whether you are allowed to combine multiple orders into single delivery or not. If you activate this, then only it's possible. If not, it's not possible. There is shipping condition. Just excuse me one moment. Yeah, but yeah, sorry. Shipping condition. So what is shipping condition? It is one of the parameter. So what is the shipping condition parameter? It will help us to determine the shipping point into sales document. So how a shipping point is coming into sales document? What is the criteria to get a shipping point into sales document? There are some parameters which will decide which shipping point should come into sales document. So how do you maintain that shipping point determination? That means which shipping point should come into sales document. How do you decide? That you decide with a shipping point determination. The transaction code is OVL2. OVL2. So you're telling this shipping point should come into sales document. But when? If your shipping condition, loading group, and plant matches. So shipping condition, from where system is taking this shipping condition? System is taking shipping condition from here, customer master. Loading group comes from the plant, and loading group comes from the material master, and plant comes from different area actually that we will discuss in the next step. Right. So what is the shipping condition? Shipping condition is one of the parameter to determine shipping point into sales document. Very, very important questions. There are 3 questions: shipping point determination, storage location determination, plant determination. Out of these 3 questions, you will face one question, no doubt in that, right? So what is shipping condition? That means how you want to do the shipping to the customer, whether it is a ground shipping, next day shipping, immediately, as soon as possible, pick up by customer itself, or immediate shipping. So what kind of shipping you are doing to the customer, that is controlled by this shipping condition. The next is delivering plant. As I just mentioned, what is the criteria to determine plant into sales document? Determinations are nice. It's very, very important. So this question can be, for sure, you go to 5 interviews, in 3 interviews they'll ask this question: how plant determines into sales document. So how plant determines into sales document? There are 3 criteria. So what are 3 criteria for plant to determine into sales document? That is, so we discussed, right, there are 3 master data. So first, system will check in CMIR. See, in the CMIR also, we have a same field called as delivering plant. First, system will check here. If system could not find the plant here, then it will come to customer master, this field. If it is could not find, you see it is blank here. If it could not find the plant even here, then it go to the material master. In the material master also, we have similar field called as delivering plant. If system could not even find in the material master, then it will throw error saying that plant could not determine into sales document. So what are the criteria to determine plant into sales document? This is the criteria: CMIR, customer master, and material master. Right. The next is POD. POD means proof of delivery. Very recent interview they asked this question. I hope you remember. Just a moment, let me show you that. I hope in the first session I would have shown you the guy who has went to the interview. Anyone attended the first session, you might be remembering. What's his name? Okay, yeah. So you see what questions they asked for him in the Adroit Technologies in the Pune. Out of this, we consider. So we have discussed about implementation. Yes, gaps. Gaps. You see what is POD and what is the T code for POD. We are about to discuss now. What is go live date? So out of whatever we discussed in the 10 sessions, you will be able to answer at least 3 to 4 questions here. Team size, go live date, POD, this thing, right? So POD, this was a question in the very recent interview, just not even 20 days back. So what is POD? POD means proof of delivery. It's not applicable for every industry and every business or every merit. So POD applicable basing upon the industry and the material what you deal with. Okay, because there are some materials, it is not certain what would be the quantity customer receives. Your delivery quantity and customer received quantity will be different. Let's say I'll take an oil company, Indian Oil Corporation, and I'll take airlines company, Jet Airways. So Indian Oil Corporation delivers some 20,000 liters of ATF, air turbine fuel, which used in the aircrafts. Right, so air turbine fuel has a very high evaporation rate. By the time it reached to the Jet Airways unloading point and they unloaded, so they could see only 19,500 liters. That means 500 liters has been evaporated because the distance is, let's say, 2,000 kilometers. 2,000 kilometers. So 19,500 liters has been evaporated. So now, to which quantity we should bill? Delivered quantity or customer received quantity? Anyone?
Quantity, 19,000.
Customer received quantity.
So how would a company know what is the quantity customer received?
Because they will provide the proof of delivery.
Right. So that is the proof of delivery. So thereby every business has their own mechanism of proof of delivery. So with the proof of delivery that would be updated to your company. So you are supposed to bill for whatever the quantity customer receives it. Right. So that means if this customer is relevant for proof of delivery, that means once after delivery, if he should send you a proof of delivery, then activate it, relevant for proof of delivery. Right. Let's say it's been more than a month, customer has not sent any proof of delivery, then because see, until unless you receive a proof of delivery from customer, you cannot bill to the customer. In SAP, you cannot bill to customer unless you until you receive a POD from customer. It's been more than a month, customer has not sent POD. If you don't have a POD, you cannot bill customer. Then you can put a time frame here. You see, let's say 10 days. System will wait for 10 days, will not allow you to raise invoice to the customer unless he send a POD. But after, if he failed to send a POD within 10 days, the system will allow you to create a invoice. For what quantity? Anyone?
For 2,000.
20,000 liters.
Right? 20 quantity. That's a delivered quantity. So if customer failed to send you the POD within the POD time frame, then system will allow you to raise the invoice to the customer for the delivered quantity. So if customer sends a POD, how do you capture that in the system? VL POD. The transaction code is VL POD. That's the same question what they asked in the interview. You can see what is the T code for POD? VL POD. Okay. So that just activate it if this customer is relevant for POD, and see, once you try the scenario, just uncheck it. Okay, just uncheck this, because if you keep it active, every time system asks you enter VLPOD, every time it's waste of your time. So don't keep it active. Just try the scenario and leave it. The next is partial delivery required. Partial delivery. That means whether for this customer is partial delivery allowed or not, or you should do only complete delivery. Usually government customers will not allow partial deliveries. If materials are not available today, do it next day, but they need complete delivery. So if this customer need complete delivery and will not allow to do partial delivery, then activate it here. Complete delivery required. That means system will allow you to schedule on delivery only when all the quantities are available. If the customer is allowing you to do partial delivery, then yeah, leave it blank, partial delivery allowed. And how many maximum of partial deliveries you can do for an item? Up to 9. Up to 9 maximum partial deliveries you can do for a item. And the next is tolerance. Tolerance means deviation. Tolerance is deviation. So what deviation you can take coming to the delivery? Let's say customer asked for 100 quantity. To the higher side, how much deviation you can take, and the lower side, how much deviation you can take. Let's say I put 10% here. So higher side, I can deliver up to 110 quantity, and lower side, I can deliver up to 90 quantity. System will not allow anything less than this or higher than that. So what deviation you should take whenever you place, whenever you're ordering, right? So that is tolerance. And unlimited tolerance. Unlimited tolerance is not applicable for general customers. This is for internal customer. What is internal customer? We'll discuss later. We use internal customer for STO purpose, stock transport order. He is an internal customer, right? So this unlimited tolerance is not applicable for other customers. Unlimited tolerance means you can increase to any level. You cannot do it for external customers. That's only for the internal customers. Okay. Just a moment. Let me log to the system. Okay, the next is billing documents. So in the billing documents, invoicing lists, invoicing dates. So rebates, I told you, right, there should be 3 prerequisites which should be activated. First, we have seen in the sales org configuration, one is called as rebate proactive, and this is the rebate option which we have in the customer master. If you want to process the rebates, then this is the second prerequisite you should activate. And invoicing dates. See, invoicing dates is an agreement between the customer and company that you should raise invoice only on that particular day. That means you do delivery on whatever the day you want in a month, but for all the deliveries, whatever you have you have done in the month, you should send invoice on only particular day of a month. That means every month 25th, you should send the invoices for the deliveries happened in that particular month. invoicing list dates, consolidating. See, you may have multiple invoices for a payer. So consolidating all the invoices and creating it as one and sending it to the payer, that will be done by the invoicing list dates. VF21 or VF24 is a transaction. VF21, I guess. Okay, let it open. By the time, let's proceed. VF21 invoicing list dates, where it will help us to consolidate multiple invoices into a single invoice. Incoterms. Incoterms is not SAP standard, it's a industry standard, Incoterms. So what is Incoterms? International commercial terms. International commercial terms. So a simple example, let's say you want to buy a product since many days on Amazon, and the product cost is $100 and the shipping cost is $30. So shipping cost is little high, so you are waiting to better deal. So someday you have seen there is no shipping cost. Okay, there is no shipping cost and the product cost is $100. So you immediately placed an order. But once you receive the package, it says $100 product cost and $30 shipping cost. Total you need to pay $130. Will you accept the package or you don't accept the package?
No, because you got the without shipping cost.
Right, so you placed because you don't want to pay the shipping cost, right? So what happened here, the terms are not clear. So at the time of placing order, it says there is no shipping cost, but once you receive the product, it says there is a shipping cost, right? So the terms are not clear. So what happened? The shipment has been failed. You don't accept it. So Incoterms will Incoterms will help us to process the shipment successfully. So how it helps to process the shipment successfully? That is, Incoterms will put, here you are putting the clear terms, CIF, you see Incoterms will always have two parts. Incoterm part 1, Incoterm part 2. Incoterm part will tell who is responsible for what. CIF means charges, insurance and freight. Everything customer has to pay. CIF. And if you want to calculate freight, how do you calculate tax? How do you calculate based upon the destination zone? So Incoterms part 2 tells what is the location of the customer, where he resides. You have other Incoterms, COD, cash on delivery, FOB, free on board. If you put free on board, the company will pay everything. Freight, charges, insurance, everything company will pay if you put FOB. CIF, charges, insurance, freight, customer has to pay. So if you put these terms very clear, so your shipment would be successful, right? So that is Incoterms. So we'll do one thing, we'll stop it here. I hope there is some issue with the system. It's exiting, there is some issue with the system. We'll stop it here today and we'll continue on Monday. And Monday, we'll be finishing the complete customer master with partner determination procedure and account groups. So complete customer master, we'll finish it on Monday. Yeah, so any questions for today?
Hello. Hello.
Go ahead, Captain.
Praveen, can you hear me? What is difference between invoicing date and invoicing list date?
So invoicing dates is an agreement. You should send the invoice only on that particular day of a month. Okay. Got the point? Invoicing dates?
It's only a date.
It's only an agreement saying that you do 10 deliveries or 100 deliveries in month. But for all that, you should send me invoice only on 25th of every month. Okay. So tomorrow you will be understanding much better when we discuss terms of payment. And invoicing list dates means, see, for a payer, there are 100 invoices. Why you should send 100 invoices individually? Why don't you put it as one invoice and send it? That means consolidate multiple invoices and send as one invoice. That is invoicing list dates. Okay. So when we discuss payment terms, so you might be having much clear of that.
Okay. And one more thing,
because we configure it in payment terms. So once we see the configuration, you'll get a clear idea. Yeah.
Okay. And there in sales tab, probably these two fields where customers were grouped like price list and some group, price group it was, I cannot exactly remember.
Go ahead. What is that? Price list and price group.
Price group, yes. Both fields were maintained at the same time. Is it possible? I mean, customer is grouped to at two different places for a particular for the price of a particular material.
Yes, you can. Because price group takes only base price. Price list take other attributes. Okay. So you, for a customer, you can maintain both price list and price group, both.
Okay. I will look into that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, access to the drive.
Daniel, right? Just a moment, Daniel. I mean, that screen. Let me do it now. This is February batch, right?
Yes.
February.
And we have not received day before yesterday's video and yesterday's video.
It was there. I uploaded it today. Can you please check?
Okay.
Just 2 hours back, I uploaded it. Yeah, send Daniel.
Sure, we'll check.
Right? Yeah. So we'll catch up on Monday, and Monday we'll finish customer master. So then after we'll continue with our material masters, right? So see you all and catch up on Monday. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.